Stop Making Sense is the greatest concert film of all time. Or at least that's what people say. A ton of people, actually. If anyone knows what a concert film is and isn't a Taylor Swift fan, this is usually the one people gravitate towards. Now, I've not seen every concert film, not even the Taylor Swift one, and I don't want to see another concert film because I know it will never be as good as this one. There's a bullet point list the size of 2 David Byrnes stacked on top of each other on why this film works so well, and I could very much go on about that. But the reason I always come back to this personally is a lot deeper than seeing Steve Scales do this at the camera. But it does help. There's a radiating sense of joy and fulfillment that comes off of everyone involved, and that the music being played is more than a job of touring and making songs. It is a bridge into becoming who you truly are and making others feel the same way.
Hi, I got a tape I want to play.
David Byrne is not a really conventional guy. More recently, he's talked about having Asperger's and being on the spectrum, and the film could not have started in a better way to show this. Psycho Killer, the band's biggest ever song about being an outsider to the world, being the first song of the entire show, and David looks, to be frank, completely deranged. His eyes are wider than I can comprehend. His head is moving like a pigeon. It's the moves of a man who is not comfortable with where they are standing on a stage in front of 2,700 people. The song literally ends on him falling over himself until the rest of the band come into play. They get added incrementally for each new song, where we see David progressively get more at ease and enjoying himself, leading into everyone on stage for burning down the house. Everyone is having the absolute time of their lives, especially Alex Weir. The dancing is weird, the shouting is infectious, the chemistry is way too high to be contained on one little stage. And from this point on, it is consistent energy all the way through, no breaks. It functions more as a movie than it does a concert film, especially with the help from lighting and cinematography by Jordan Cronenweth.
I reached out to Jordan Cronenweth, asked Jordy if he'd be interested in doing this, and part of the allure for David was that the lighting that he was so, that was his lighting. Gary Getzman and I went to see the Talking Heads, and what I saw on stage was, I thought, literally a movie waiting to be filmed. There was this character-driven narrative, costume changes and attitude changes. There was also this amazing lighting going on. And I turned to Gary and said, dude, we should film this.
There's a brilliant video by Drywall Studios that I will link below that explains this more fully, but I'll do a brief summary here of the narrative this movie goes under, because this is really a movie. It comes from a neurodivergent lens. David coming onto stage and attempting to perform like normal, but he simply doesn't know how to do so. But as the show goes on, he becomes more comfortable in his own ways of performing, which is definitely something. Imagine all that dancing you do in the mirror and the bathroom, crank it up 10 times and you have this guy who does it in front of thousands of people. Swamp feels like the real turning point where he realises he can be free of judgment. He basically just does a stupid voice, rises up like The Undertaker, and starts marching on stage, and it still works somehow. It's incredible. This Must Be the Place becomes a checkpoint of content in being in this state of freedom once in a lifetime, then building up the frustration in one final number before he shakes everything off in Girlfriend Is Better. And I can't make this video without talking about that damn suit. Yeah, it's funny. It's a joke. It looks ridiculous. It looks even more ridiculous once he takes the jacket off and he looks like a walking marshmallow. But this wouldn't have happened or worked nearly as well if he performed the whole show like it. You as a viewer needed to go on a journey of David opening himself up through the music to then understand that he'd have the confidence to go through with this right near the end. Jonathan Demme's direction of not showing the audience until the last song pays off. You go on this uninterrupted narrative journey and then finally get the release on the last song, Cross-Eyed and Painless. It makes it hit all the harder, and then these moves get busted out. It's extremely easy to look at this film and just pass it off as a couple of silly people on stage doing a good performance. And it is, to be fair. I'm not going to say you can't watch Tina Weymouth dance like this and not laugh, because I think that's impossible. But there's an invisible synergy that forms between you and the band, because they make doing this seem so cool somehow. Concerts are not usually like this, because musicians are not usually like Talking Heads. They're shy. like really shy. All of them are art students, and anyone who interviewed David Byrne was lucky if he looked at them for more than 2 seconds. But they're also incredible musicians, and their shows became a portal into the minds of people who had to mentally hide themselves from the public. When you're touring with Bernie Worrell and Alex Weir, you're bound to sound good either way. The pockets some of these songs achieve is ridiculous.
By the time we got to Stop Making Sense with the expanded lineup, we were really tearing the roof off.
We are obviously having a great time. We were a locked band.
And with that, it's pure electricity coming out of the performances. Everyone is having the time of their life. On the last song, Flipping to the Audience, you can't watch it and sit still. It's completely infectious seeing the joy everyone is having. I absolutely love this film for the fact that it transcends the medium of a film. It acts as a concert, a narrative-driven film, a masterclass in lighting and cinematography, an amazing soundtrack, and all of this gets achieved through the infectious joy everyone feels through the music. When music is so good that everyone performing and listening is in on it, there's not a comparable feeling in the world as to when it hits like this. It takes a once-in-a-lifetime talent to pull this off, and about 10 of them worked on this one film. This movie easily taught me that the simple act to stop making sense is the key to finding joy in anything. And I also found out it's shown again in a couple of weeks in London, and what a day that will be.